How can I control spray applications for variable product runs? The FlexFlow control system allows for a great degree of control over the actuated nozzles associated with it or connected to it. These will be the EHP or the EHPI nozzles that we sell. What degrees of control do we have over this spray setup? There's kind of 6 control settings for each of the spray zones. So first of all, let's define what a spray zone is. A spray zone is a set or a single nozzle that can be controlled independently. The FlexFlow system separates nozzles into up to 20 different spray zones. So you can have 20 different independently controlled nozzles or sets of nozzles. So each of those spray zones has the following control systems in place. First, the trigger start delay. So each spray zone can have its own trigger signal associated with it, and then you can program the delay between that trigger and the nozzle or nozzles starting to spray. So that can be very important when setting up conveyor-based systems, for example. So it hits the sensor, you want a short delay between that hitting the sensor and the nozzle starting to spray, you can program that in. A trigger stop delay can also be programmed in. So once the signal from the trigger system, whatever that is, has been lost, you may want to carry on spraying for a little bit in certain spray situations. You can program that in as well. The third parameter is spray duration. So you can set it to purely spray on an on-off cycle, on a duration. It'll stop, start and spray for a certain specific period. You can program that in if you want to as well, if that's useful. The cycle duration can be varied as well. It's the 4th degree of control. So you can program in the delay between those set program spray times. If you've got a very, very regular conveyor, you may not need to have a trigger sensor each time. The trigger sensor may just be the start of the conveyor, and then it's spraying in a very methodical way. You can vary the length of the spray, and then you can vary the length of the off cycle as well between the sprays. The 5th degree of control is the duty of the spray. This is a percentage. So at 100%, the nozzle is spraying all of the time, and you can vary that down to 50% or lower using pulse width modulation. And what this does is it very rapidly cycles the nozzles on and off, so that they are, let's say on a 50% duty, they're actually off half of the time during the spray cycle. And because it's so rapidly on and off, this effectively still produces a consistent spray, but you are reducing the flow rate by 50%. What you can do with duties, you can program in the flow rate you want out of the same set of nozzles spraying at the same pressure. So very, very useful for variable product runs. And the final degree of control is the frequency of that on-off pulse width modulation during a below 100% duty spraying cycle. So if we're spraying at, say, 50% duty, so we're reducing the flow rate by half, you can actually vary the frequency of that rapid pulsing to give a more consistent spray pattern. And the faster you cycle it on and off, the more consistent the spray pattern is going to be. You get some degrees of freedom there as well. So what can you do with all of this control? Well, we can vary the flow rate of the fluid without changing the nozzles or the fluid pressure by cycling the nozzle on and off rapidly in pulse width modulation. This allows for variable dosing. We can also vary the trigger delay and the spray length time for different shapes of product to be sprayed, or different speeds of conveyor, or different topologies on there, all off the same set of nozzles. And we could have different nozzles coming on for different particular spray runs. So you could have a number of different nozzle spray zones set up on a single conveyor, and maybe some are actuated depending on the product you're putting through there. It's entirely possible to have pre-programmed in with one set of nozzles the number of different types of spray set up on the same conveyor. So you can get that all set up and programmed in to begin with. Then the switchover times between maybe different shaped products that you're coating, or you need different amounts of coating on different products, that can all be just flipped over at the switch of a button using the same set of nozzles that's set up and programmed by the FlexFlow system.